Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's Postgrad Insights session, which is part of the LLM Festival Week study in the USA. Today, we are with Washington University in St. Louis School of Law. They're going to be going through their LLM programs and courses that they've got available. Just while we wait for everybody to join on social media, I know there'll be a few people watching, trying to make sure it doesn't buffer or whatnot. Just a reminder, this is a live session, so if you have any questions and you're on social media, please put the questions at the bottom where the comment section is. We'll pick it up, don't worry. If there's anything too personal, we'll come back to you, Juan or Marcus. No doubt Juan will be in touch later on with your details. So look, to begin with, a huge thank you for joining us, Juan and Marcus. I'd like for you to share your screen now. You can present and we'll see you in about 30 minutes for the live Q&A, okay?
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Gareth. Very happy to be here, and of course, very happy to be able to share about our programs, and of course about the international student experience here at WashU Law. Just as a very fast starter, I want to present myself. I'm Juan del Valle. I am a professor here at WashU Law, and I'm also the director of international programs. Actually, I'm a graduate from our LLM program, which is part of the reasons why I love doing this and talking about this experience and this amazing experience that you will have here. I came from Colombia, South America, back in 2009 to study my LLM in US law here at WashU. And then, well, I'm here. So I'm always glad to, answer questions, not only as the director of international programs, but also as a former student. And of course, we have today Marcus Balderman, which is one of our amazing students. He comes from Germany. He'll be sharing a little bit about his experience, at the end of the presentation. So thank you so much, Marcus, for being here. Let me share my screen really fast. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the university first, okay, so that we can kind of get a little bit of an idea of what is Washington University in St. Louis, and then I'll dig into the programs, and of course, at the end, I'll be happy to answer any questions for any information that maybe I leave out. So I titled this presentation, Top 5 Things to Consider When Choosing an LLM in the US, of course, focusing in what we have to offer here at WashU Law. All right, so first of all, where are we located, right? We're located in St. Louis, Missouri, which is basically in the heart of the United States. This is what we call the Midwest area, near the Mississippi River, which actually crosses the whole United States from north to south. We are in a mid-sized city with a population of 2.8 million, which in my point of view makes it very comfortable because it is not a gigantic, complicated, busy city. It is actually a city that is very spacious, but at the same time, you have everything that you are really looking for. There's always something to do, so it's a fun city also. Very green. It's just beautiful. So just so you have an idea of where we are located, like middle of the United States. A little bit more about St. Louis, right? You can see some photos over there. It's a beautiful city. We have the Arch, which is that icon that shows the entrance, the gateway to the west, right? There's a lot of sports here. Baseball, big thing, right? With the St. Louis Cardinals. Hockey with the St. Louis Blues, and now soccer, a big thing with the STL club, which is doing well, by the way. Anyway, a little bit more about WashU. 24 Nobel Prize winners have been passed through this university, so you can imagine this is not only the law school, right? Medical school is also crazy, very good, always in the top 10 of the in the rankings in the United States. Ranked within the top 20 in the academic ranking of worldwide universities. So we're talking about an institution that really adds a lot of information to the academic world and also to the professional world. Just in numbers, I wanted to focus on this one. 35% of all graduate students at Washington University are international. So you're going to see that the international population here at WashU is gigantic. Whenever I came here as a student, I felt right away very comfortable because, we are a lot of international students. So immediately you start listening to different languages, etc., seeing different cultures, and that's something that, of course, adds a lot of value to your experience. I love this quote by our chancellor. I want to read it really fast because it shows the vision that the university has towards international students, staff, and faculty. So students, faculty, and staff from around the globe are welcome at Washington University with open arms. They are evaluated and celebrated as members of our thriving community, and they play a vital role in making the university the exceptional institution it is today. International students, faculty, and staff bring backgrounds and perspectives that enrich our dialogues on campus, and their presence helps all members of our community become productive members and leaders of a rapidly changing and global society. That is the whole policy, right, of this openness for international students. Now, let's talk about our programs. I love this slide because if you look at this picture in the bottom right, those are my 3 kids. Those are my 3 daughters that came to one of the LLM parties that we had. We had the fall festival at the Forest Park, and we had a lot of fun. We had pumpkin carving and a lot of food, but also my kids had a lot of fun. Just showing you a little bit. Okay, so top 5 things you should consider when choosing a law school in the United States. And I did this in a very personal way, right? Because again, as I told you, I was an international student too. So these are things that I was thinking about. I know this is not an easy decision. There is a lot of nervousness, right? A lot of investment, not only in money, but in time, in effort. So this can make us a little bit, stressed, mostly when we're receiving so much information from so many different schools, right? So first, diversity and networking. Super important for me. I was talking before about this, the fact that we have so many international students, not only in the university, but also specifically in our law school. And that brings not only a lot of a very comfortable environment, but also it allows for a lot of information sharing in between individuals that come from different legal systems. So you're basically learning 20 times more whenever you're studying with individuals from 20 different legal systems. Right now, as of this year, for example, we have almost 30 countries represented in our cohort that just started for this 2023. So diversity is something that you're going to be able to live here. You're going to be able to build that networking, build those connections that hopefully, will be super useful in the future. My best friends from when I studied my LLM program were 2 students from Japan. And actually after graduation, almost 5 years afterwards, we had a project together and we had some work done. So you never know, right? It's always important to make these connections, learn about other cultures, but also, learn about legal systems, other legal systems besides the US legal system. This is a map that I put together showing you in red those all those countries where we have had students come in the past 5 years. So as you can see, we have students from really around the world, which, again, is going to be enhancing your experience here at WashU. This is another point that is super important in my point of view. And let me explain this. Some law schools offer LLM program, right? And that LLM program is totally independent from the JD program. That independence means different professors, different course material, of course, right? And, students studying only with other international students. And lastly, right, less courses to choose from because, creating options just for the LLM program is going to be more challenging, right? To try to give, a vast number of courses to choose from. Now, the other option, right, is exactly what happens here at WashU, is that we have an integration in between the LLM program and the JD program, meaning that whenever you're an LLM student, you have access to almost every course that is offered within the law school. So that gives you a very large variety of courses to choose from. At the same time, it guarantees that you are studying at the same academic level that is offered in the JD because you have the same professors, the same academic level. You are expected to learn the same. So this really increases that quality of what you're studying. And again, as I told before, the decision to study an LLM in the United States is a decision that involves investment in money, investment in time, in effort. So you really want to get back the most, right, out of those investments, right, of that investment. So this is something that I'm really proud of saying. We do have this integration in between the LLM JD program, meaning that you will be able to study with American students, right, the domestic students also, JD students, right? But at the same time, also students from the doctorate degree, and of course, other LLM students. Now, number three, learning through practice, right? And this is also important and was super important for me because I came from a law school, and the way that it goes in Colombia and in most civil law system countries, we are very used to sitting down, taking notes, passing exams, sitting down, taking notes, passing exams, right? And just professors talking and talking and talking. And that's okay, right? I think that's a big part of the process of learning. It's important to get all that theory. But also, my big question was, okay, besides sitting down and taking all these notes and passing exams, am I going to be able to have other learning opportunities, something a little bit more experiential, more practical? And the answer is at WashU, yes. We do have a bunch of different opportunities for our students, not only to have direct contact with courts from the federal and state levels. They actually, in part of the program, can meet with judges, talk and interact with judges, learn about how the judicial system actually works in the United States. Students are also assigned an attorney advisor, and that way they can increase their lawyering skills, learning directly from practicing attorneys and professors. Competitions, right? We just had our client counseling competition, which, by the way, Marcus won, right? So that's another very nice thing that we have Marcus here to celebrate him, because he did an amazing job with his partner. We have the International JESAB Moot Court competition. We have the moot court competitions that are within the intro courses. We have the JELP, which is the Judicial Experiential Learning Program. So we have all those different programs besides the program itself, right? That will allow you to combine the theory that you're getting in class, but also with this experiential learning that, in my point of view, is not only more effective, but at the same time is more fun, in my point of view. Number four, right? What does the law school do for your transition, right, into this new legal world? And this is a big deal, right? I was coming from a civil law country, right? Of course, Spanish speaker, right? English as my second language. So I was nervous. Coming into this new world, the common law system, the U.S. common law system, which is, of course, has its own particularities. Also, these legal terms. Am I going to be reading cases, briefing cases, answering in English? And thankfully, WashU offered me this very nice opportunity that is the one that I'm sharing with you, which is the ILEP. It's the Intensive Legal English program that we offer before the start of the LLM program, and that is aimed at helping incoming students increase those levels of English language skills, but also focused in legal English, right? In kind of having a general understanding of the U.S. legal system before you engage in your regular courses. Very nice thing about this program is that for our incoming LLM students, this program is always offered for free. So it's a wonderful opportunity not only to get that first contact with the U.S. legal system, but also to increase those legal English skills. And in my case, I made my friends back in the ILEP. So when I started the LLM program, I already felt very comfortable there. Now, we also have the Center for Academic Support and Legal Writing. This center operates throughout the whole year, right? And it's accessible for any international student that needs any help. I don't know, you're writing a paper, you're writing a brief, anything that you need, academically speaking, right? Any assistance, any teaching assistance that you need or to receive, then you can get it through the center. So you're always covered. So I always encourage our students to, take advantage of this feature. Now, number 5, flexibility. This has to do with that slide where I told you about the integration in between the LLM program and the JD program. Flexibility, right? And one of the concerns that I had when I was choosing my LLM program or making this big decision was, am I going to be able to study what I'm interested in, or are they going to tell me every single thing that I need to study, right? And that's it, right? Is it a pre-drafted program that is not going to be allowing me to maybe be curious about certain other areas? And the answer is, well, no. Here at WashU, I found this flexibility. So in my case, when I came back in 2009, I didn't really have, back then, I didn't really have like a specific focus in a specific area of law. So I wanted to learn like different things. I wanted to learn a little bit of practical skills like drafting contracts, etc., and commercial agreements. At the same time, I was interested in ADRs, alternative dispute resolution processes. So I also wanted to take some courses there. But at the same time, I also wanted to learn about transnational litigation. So my LLM, right, was a mixture of courses from different areas that I was able to choose thanks to that flexibility that our programs allow. Now, within that flexibility, we offer different concentrations, right, for your LLM, or an option to get some certificates in a specific area. Let me explain really fast. In the case of the concentrations, what happens is that most of the courses that you're going to be taking within your LLM are going to be having to be within the specific area that you chose. So we have a concentration in intellectual property and technology law. We have a concentration in US law, which is the one that I graduated from. We have an LLM with a concentration in negotiation and dispute resolution. And we also have a general LLM, which I'm going to say is the most flexible, of course, right? That's why it's called the general LLM. Now, besides those concentrations, we also offer the possibility of obtaining certificates within the LLM program. First of all, you don't have to pay more for those, right? It is just the use of your credits within the program that will allow you to graduate from X LLM with a certificate in IP and technology law, international law, business and corporate law, or negotiation and dispute resolution. So all those options are possible thanks to the fact that we have this flexibility. Now, finally, this bar exam preparation. A lot of you, I know, are thinking or considering maybe, you know what, at the end of my LLM, I would like to give it a try, or my aim is to actually be able to sit for a bar exam in the United States. And as a lot of you might know already, that is a possibility that is open whenever you have a previous program in law, an LLB from your country, right? And then you study an LLM in an accredited university, then you're able to sit, for example, for the New York bar exam, probably the most popular one for international students. And then we do offer not only the possibility of fulfilling, or for you to fulfill the bar exam requirements in order to be able to be eligible to sit for the bar exam, but we also offer some bar exam workshops that may give you kind of an introduction to the exam of how the test goes, right? So that you start getting a little bit more comfortable and closer to that preparation for the bar exam. So that's always important. Now, don't worry, because I know there's questions about scholarships and financial aid. The news that I have is that we do have scholarships available for international students. Those scholarships cover part of the tuition. Those are assigned in a case-by-case basis, depending on, of course, budget, but also personal qualities and merit. I was one of those fortunate students that was able to come here because I received a scholarship that covered part of my tuition back in 2009. So we are always happy to help those individuals who need it. We totally understand the challenges of coming to the United States and paying in US dollars. At the same time, you're living here in the United States for a whole year. Well, those things, of course, add up. So we tend and try always to do our best into helping those international students. Now, here you have my email address, okay, juandelvalle@wustl.edu. Please don't hesitate to, email me. We can schedule a Zoom call if you need, if you want to meet, or if you have questions, I can always answer those. Again, remember that I have the experience of being an international student before here. I'm going to play really fast one short video that kind of repeats a little bit what I've been saying, but I like the fact that you can see how the campus looks, and you can hear from some of our former students a little bit about their experience. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'll start sharing again here. Therefore, please enjoy. Perhaps one of the things that make the LLM programs at Washington University School of Law stronger is the fact that the LLM programs are not actually separated from the JED program. They're actually integrated. And what that means is that LLM students have access to most of the courses and most of the different activities that are offered within the JED program.
The faculty at Washington University they're world-renowned in their areas of expertise. They've done extensive publishing, and the students who come here are able to really be a part of that, be able to customize their curriculum, to be able to dive into a subject and become experts in subject matter that will help them advance in their career.
WashU Law offers us ILAC program, and it's such a 4 weeks program that you can kind of practice your speaking, reading, and listening skills, and mostly it's about legal English. We have moot court competition within that program, and you're gonna handle in your draft, your memo in writing, and you're gonna compete in oral. And there will be real judge judging you.
Washington University is an amazing university. Not only campus-wise, the campus has been awarded the most beautiful college campus in the United States.
LLM students at WashU have the opportunity to choose what they want to study. I, for instance, took the Negotiation and Dispute Resolution LLM, and it basically gives you the opportunity to study what you want to study or to expand your expertise in the exact field you want to practice afterwards, especially if you want to work in the United States.
Wonderful. So, well, that was a short video. Oh, let me stop this. Right, wonderful. So, another question that I know you have is about the class sizes, right? And one of the concerns a lot of times is, in the movies, we tend to see these, law classrooms, right, that have like 250 students, right? Gigantic groups. And that's a big question, right? Am I going to be studying, right, with 250 students, or maybe I'll never get to meet the professor, right? And the good news is that most of our courses, have a very manageable size, right? You're going to be, seeing courses that go in between 20, 30 students sometimes, for the most. Only, for example, some courses like the Introduction to U.S. Law course, in which all the international students are taking at the same time, that's a larger course, right? But again, the more specialized courses, that is going to be a very, very manageable size, in which not only will you be able to have nice interaction with your peers, but also with your professors, who are always accessible, for any type of question inside and outside the classroom. That said, I'm gonna pass it to Marcus. So Marcus, again, as I introduce you, well, the first credential is the most recent one. He's our winner from the client counseling competition last weekend. So he did a great job. And as I told you, well, Marcus comes from Germany. And I want Marcus to tell us a little bit about his experience in our LLM. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Baldermann. I'm from Germany, and I studied and graduated from law in Germany. And before, I also studied abroad in New Zealand for 1 year. So I also had like some idea of common law and English learning. But I want to talk about WashU, about living in the US and living in St. Louis and studying at WashU. Because although I did have some English before, I did not have to take the ILAB program that Professor Devay mentioned, the Introductory Intensive Legal English program. However, I did take it, and I'm actually very glad that I did. Because first of all, it was free. Second of all, it is called intensive program for a reason. It is quite intensive, but it helped a lot to getting a first idea of how US law works, how you read cases in the US law, because cases will be really important, and also get to meet some of the people. That was very fortunate for me, because coming here, I already had some people that I had seen before. It was actually so funny when I came into the WashU beautiful law school in the very first day, and I saw someone coming across me shouting, "Marcus, is it you?" And that was so great. And I was like, "Hi, Emma, good to see you." And it's amazing that I have now great friends from Pakistan, from China, from Saudi Arabia, from Italy and France, and from the US also. So WashU is great with the flexibility of courses of the program, because it is very up to you. You can make it a chill and nice experience where you go out with friends on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, make weekend trips before you go back to school. But you can also make it more academically rigorous by choosing courses that challenge you more, by engaging in the student organizations and activities that are offered. Every semester there is a competition that you can take, and there are also different kinds of courses that you can take. You can take a seminar course that is very writing intensive, but it gives you the chance to maybe even publish something. You can take a negotiation course that is very practical, where you get to do negotiation exercises, but you also can take very specific US law courses like contracts or torts or corporations. And the nice thing is that WashU offers some LLM specific courses where you can kind of stay within your comfort zone, but you have this integration where you do study next to the JD students, and you get kind of put in the middle and have, like, to your left, to your right, US American law students that are very happy to also interact with you. If you like introduce yourself, tell with them, you can also meet with them. And even in those courses, you're not let alone, because you have those institutions that Professor Devalle mentioned. You have the Center for Legal Writing, that if you have homework or a paper, they can look over it, they can support you. But you also have TA classes for the JD courses, where you have a separate extra opportunity to ask more questions to professors. And there's something from me coming from Germany, where I am used to like 300 people in one class. And if you ever interact with the professor, it's maybe like after the class for 5 minutes before they have to go again. But here, the professor have like weekly office hours where you can just drop in and say hi, or you can email them with the questions. And they, I mean, maybe this is not unusual, but for me, that was very special. They want you to succeed. So they really want to support you and want to help you, and are patient to be there with you. Another institution, when we switch from the learning to the future and career planning, is the career service. There's also very supportive in like the process to, I'm from a different country. How does a CV or resume in the US look like? How do I approach networking events? How do I approach my job search and everything? So you get a lot of help. You also get a lot of flexibility when I get back to the course choices, with like, it is definitely some money that you put down. However, you do get or you can get the support. And also for me, I'm very grateful that I received some tuition reduction, which enabled me to come here and do this. But then it is also, you can choose within the amount that you can do during the semester, have a range if you want to take and one course more because you're just really interested in, and there's like no extra charge for that. You shouldn't take too much so you don't get overwhelmed, but you have an academic advisor who helps you and sees, okay, yeah, you can do this, or who says, well, maybe you should choose between those two courses. And when we come to the life in St. Louis and WashU, it is a nice city. I come from I don't know if I can call it city with 300,000, or actually less, maybe even people. So St. Louis feels big to me. However, when I then also was in New York's just whoosh. So like St. Louis has a city downtown where you have tall buildings, but it also, if you just drive 10-15 minutes within the city, you also have like little townhouses, and you have the beautiful WashU campus, and you have so much green spaces and so many free activities that you can do. You have the City Museum, you have an art, or I think even 2 art galleries that are fantastic, and you can go there for free. And I can't believe that it's like actually free to just go there, but it's wonderful things that you can do with your friends. It is, however, like coming from Europe to the US, very spaced out, so it's not always very easy to just walk everywhere or to bike everywhere. Sometimes you will have to Uber or to make a friend with someone who has a car. Then you can get around. But the campus itself is beautiful, and there are so many activities in campus. And as my last word is that I would say you can meet US Americans, you can meet internationals and make a lot of friends and connections. You do need to challenge yourself and take those steps though. But if you do take those steps, the reward is really great and you can take a lot out of this year.
No, Marcus, well, thank you so much for that. I'm always glad to hear you. And again, as I was telling you, Marcus was the winner, or one of the winners of the client counseling competition, along from a student from Pakistan, right? And just so you know, the second place was from 2 students from Nigeria, who did a wonderful job this weekend too. So we always have this, nice group of very high qualified students that just make it great. So thank you so much, Marcus. Yeah, you mentioned the student organizations, and we have 39 student associations within the law school. So that's a wonderful way to increase that networking, to learn about specific areas of law, or to just make friends that have a common interest. As a matter of fact, I am the academic advisor or the faculty advisor for 2 of those organizations, one of them being the Latin American Students Law Association. And we always have these very nice panels and invited speakers, right, to talk about, situations in the Hispanic world, of course, legally oriented. But anyway, there's always a possibility to be more a part of the community, right? And as Marcus said, it is your decision, right? If you don't want to be participating in everything, well, you don't have to, right? But if you want to create more connections, have more of an experience, more interaction with other individuals, then you can always do that. So I would do the second one, right? Because part of the reasons and my objectives when I came were exactly that. Was like, all right, I want to learn a lot, but at the same time, I also want to enjoy myself, right? That was great. I graduated in 2010, stayed here under my OPT and worked for a law firm here in St. Louis. So I kind of really was investing into trying to have all this, all the full package, right? I wanted the full experience, right? So thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing. I think that's it from my point here, Gareth. I don't know if we want to open it for questions and answers. I'll be more than happy. And of course, if anybody has any question for Marcus, Marcus is also here.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you, Marcus, as well. It's very rare we get to talk to a current student of any law degree, of any LLM program. So it was a fascinating insight to how you go about your studies and how, the amount of times we hear people in Guangzhou say, we offer flexible options. You can drop in and out. You can go into a professor's room. You can feel welcome. The city is great, but they live there. They know it. They're going to say that. They work there. But to hear you obviously talk about, your experiences in detail, it's fantastic. So thank you for that. So, Juan, what I'll do is I'm going to ask a few questions, some of which have been asked already, but some that I've got off the back of that as well. So we just spend 5-10 minutes just talking about that. So talk to me about how a student would go about applying for a course at your college, because for many people, they will be put off sometimes by the amount of stages they've got to go through and how difficult, and if there's objections in the way, it's very easy to kind of bow out and say, no, not for me, I'll leave it. First of all, to you, Juan, how easy is that? And secondly, to Marcus, if you want to elaborate further on that, how did you find it when you went through that process?
Yeah, and also Marcus, who showed you campus? I'm to say me was so No, but all right, guys, I'll take it, of course. So the application process for our LLM programs is super simple. And not only simple, you can do it for free, which is important because that's another thing, right? Whenever you're applying to a bunch of different schools and then you start adding fees and fees and fees, right? That's another challenge. But if you apply through our website, okay, and if you want, afterwards I can maybe post it in the chat or something, the link. But basically, if you go into our website and you go to international programs and LLM programs and then click on apply now, you're going to be going and creating an account for free. Okay. And you just put in some information and they're going to be asking you to upload the following documents. One, your transcripts in English. Okay. Transcripts in English from your LLB program or your previous program. Second, one letter of recommendation, just one letter of recommendation, right? If you have more, wonderful. Right, but required only one. And third, if you come from a country where English is not the official language, then you must upload your English language proficiency test score, which could be either the TOEFL or the IELTS test. Okay, so 3 requirements pretty much, right? That you just upload there. But if you come from an English-speaking country, then you don't need to fulfill the third one. That's it. I mean, really, really, well, free, and second, really easy. That's about that. And then, Marcus, right? You got a question for you?
Yeah. So Marcus, just talk to me about how you found it, because obviously you're the best person to speak on this, really. You know, you've gone through that process, and you know, how easy did you find it? And whenever there was an objection in the way, how did you overcome that? And how easy were the team at Washington and St. Louis to sort that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was a relatively simple process. And I also found that it is, where you log in and create your account, the whole process is not very complicated. And so it was, first of all, nice if you compare to other law schools, that there is not this hurdle of having to pay an application fee without even knowing if they will take you or not. That would hold me back. And also the second is that you do not need the LSAT. There are just in general also objections how good the LSAT will predict if you will be successful or not. So that is nice that you do not need to worry about those. And language proficiency is helpful for yourself, but also with the iLab you will be prepared well. And then it's only the letter of recommendation, and I think 2 or 3 text fields where you kind of generally talk about yourself, tell yourself, and explain your motivation for it, where I just would type it in a Word format first to make sure there's no typos, which I would recommend before then copying it in. And you can add more recommendation letters. You can add your CV or resume, which I'm not totally sure, but I do think that helps for scholarship evaluation, for to look at your merit. And yeah, then I sent it off, and then it took some time where you wait while everything gets evaluated. But other than that, it was very simple. And then there came the yes.
Fabulous.
But then then you came to campus, and who showed it to you?
That's true. Actually, before I applied, I was in the US and a little bit touring. So I reached out and asked if I could have a campus tour. And certain professor, Juan Del Valle, met with me on a very, very hot day in June and showed me around this beautiful campus.
Yeah, I remember we were sweating just walking around. We had, high humidity that day. And Marcus, of course, wanted to get to see all. And I was, okay, Marcus, let's go. So we went to the other side. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Yeah. So again, yes, just as a matter of conclusion, we try to make the application process as simple as possible. But as Marcus said, you're always free to upload any documents that you feel you want us to take into account. Now, the requirements, are just those that I told you about. But then, you know what? I personally like it when applicants upload their CV or their resume it's always nice to see exactly what has been going on there in their lives.
Excellent. And just to finish, Juan, I want to talk about what St. Louis, Washington St. Louis are looking for when students are applying, because obviously you mentioned earlier, Marcus, always check for typos, always check for these little things, because although it's great that you can apply for free and there's no kind of consequences, ultimately you want to get it right if you can the first time. So what is it you're looking for when you see students' applications come through and their personal statements come through? Is there anything that would set them apart for those that are looking and thinking of applying?
All right, well, let me go back to that personal statement, right? It's not really a personal statement. We do not require something super formal, right? Of an X amount of words. It's really like Marcus said, right? It's a space where it says, why do you want to study here, right? And it's that. And a lot of individuals just type it right away, or careful individuals like Marcus then went first to Word and then made sure that the text was perfect. That of course is important, right? The motivation, right? What is behind the purpose of coming to WashU, right? It's always interesting to learn a little bit about the histories or the stories, behind our applicants. We do check GPAs. Okay, that is important. We do check academic records, and we have different matrices to do that, because we understand that institutions around the world are different, right? So a lot of times an individual that has a GPA of 3.5 in one institution, you cannot really compare to another individual who has a 2.8 in a very difficult institution, right? So we do have our strategies and ways and processes to check on those GPAs. One thing that I want to tell you is, look, I personally, I'm very into trying to understand applicants. So it has happened in the past that we have seen an applicant that maybe in their undergraduate, flunked, a couple of courses in the middle of the, in the program. And you know what I do? I like contacting them and asking, hey, what happened? What happened there? And a lot of times, a student had a difficult time, maybe a family loss, maybe a lot of times also it happens that in a lot of our countries, we start the law program being very young, right? So we're still very confused whenever we're 18, right? But I like hearing that, right? It is important to be able to listen to those, to listen to explanations before making a decision. But definitely that's going to be part of the criteria. And something that is really important for us, English level. Because we don't want to bring students to suffer. Really, that's not the idea. The idea is not to bring students to have an awful time and be struggling. We don't want to set anybody for failure. We want to set everybody for success. So English level for us is important, because the equation is the better your English skills, the better you're going to do. That's the way it goes. You can be an amazing lawyer back home, but if you do not have the communication skills and you're going to be struggling, well, you're going to be suffering, and that makes no sense. So I would always tell anybody that is thinking about applying, not only to WashU, right? Applying for any LLM in the United States, make your life easier, right? Study a little bit more English, practice, read every day a little bit. If you have any peer that you can talk with, go on and try to practice 5-10 minutes per day. That's going to make your life easier. Believe me, I mean, the better your English, the better your odds for success.
You can start that younger as well. The amount of people that turn around and say, it's too late, I can't study it now, I can't learn the language. Look, I'm English, we're the most ignorant people in the world. You've got to learn another language, and we're lucky that we speak English in America, we speak English in the UK, because it means that being the superpowers that we are in terms of in the law world, people have to adapt to us. Now, it does also mean that like Marcus, it means that we get different cultures and different nationalities speaking the great language, and therefore putting their different perspectives and the different messages in different charismatic ways, which is fantastic. But I think that is important. It's a great note to finish on. So thank you very much. Juan and Marcus, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been a great session. Probably one of the best of the week so far in terms of engagement. Marcus, thank you for your time. No doubt you're going to be clipped and put onto social media quite a lot over the next 3 or 4 months. So thank you very much. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next year. But I'll catch up with you soon, and thanks for your time.